Shalom. My name is James, and this is Deliverance with Yah Only. I am a messenger of the Most High Yah and assigned brother in the truth to speak truth to you. I'll be speaking with you under the title of Life Coach. For spiritual deliverance, detoxing of spirits, sinful habits, removing spirits and maintaining your freed up status and seal, breaking covenants and agreements, and habits from spirits. This is not a camp of any form. This is simply a channel name for the Most High's work to be done and presented to you. Today's video is going to be on the husband. Hold on a second. The husband only can deliver his wife. Now, the definition of a husband is a frugal manager, companion, and he handles all affairs in his household. He has his responsibility, she has her responsibility, of course, but ultimately all of the affairs of the household do rest on the shoulders of the husband, and he is the manager, he is the partner, he is the companion. Now, that definition, of course, is what the Webster speaks on, but obviously when you are an actual husband, you know that it's deeper than that. It's not you being a husband is not a technical thing. It's not a impersonal thing, as that definition sounds like. So as I said, that's what the basic definition of a husband is from the Webster's. And just getting into it. Exodus 21, verse 10 and 11. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not diminish. And if he do not these three unto her, then shall he go out free with. Then shall she go out free without money. So with this scripture right here, I'm speaking directly to the duty of marriage part. Of course, the other parts, the food, the clothes, which is raiment, those things are supposed to be handled by the husband. Of course, the wife is a helpmeet. If she works, they both put their money together. That's how it's supposed to go. When it's a team, when it's a marriage that's working in teamwork and working in unity, that's how it goes. Everybody has their own version of marriage, whereas they're partners. She has her money, he has his money, and he can make her borrow money, or she has to borrow money from him. He has to borrow money from her, and they have to pay each other back and all that. That's more so of that impersonal marriage situation, and both people don't have the understanding on marriage and how they need to do it. They may be more so financially driven, why they married, and that's where a lot of marriages do end in divorce, because of when the finances go down, that's why they were together. So some people will disagree. Some people will say that that's not the case and it worked out fine for them, so on and so forth. But a lot of the marriages that ended, like they say, is the money is the huge reason why marriage is in, and it all depends on how you start and how you operate. So, like I said, focusing on the duty of marriage part, that's another huge reason I believe why divorce takes place, because the duty of marriage part, paying attention to your wife, even the wife, it being a mutual thing. But in this case, we're speaking about the husband right now. So with the husband, with the duty of marriage, paying attention to your wife, learning her, knowing her, as the scripture talks about and refers to as sex, knowing your wife. It's more to knowing your wife than just sex. There's knowing your wife and who she is, her past, all of these different things that you get the opportunity to explore as a husband, looking with a optimistic viewpoint as being a husband, not a pessimistic viewpoint where it's like, oh man, I don't want to hear all of that, No. Um, Men of the Most High who are in marriages, you want to know your wife. What's going on with her? What is she doing? Who is she really? Who is she when I'm not around? Who is she when I am around? You want to know. Because when it comes down to the Most High speaking to you about your wife and certain things He wants you to talk to her about, um, you either should have been getting to know your wife to where some of the things make sense and you've seen them before. Otherwise, if you haven't seen them, then the Most High bring it to your attention, and then He'll cause you to see it eventually. So, anyways, with the duty of marriage, deliverance is one of the things. Knowing your wife, talking with your wife, loving your wife, of course, um, spending time, everything like that. Actually enjoying your wife. Duty of marriage, I believe, really is a thing where there's no limit. If it is as long as it is lawful, and you're a husband and it's something that your wife needs, um, that's something that you are there to supply. You are not there to be led by your wife or commanded by your wife to do things. Um, you are not there to um, do exactly what she wants whenever she wants it. You're not there to be a pet. You're not there to be ran over. That's not what I'm talking about at all. So when I'm saying whatever your wife needs, if she has surgery and the doctors are telling her, hey, you have to, till you're talking to the wife, you have to have somebody wrapping this up. They have to be taking care of it. Somebody who's consistent every day that can do this. That husband should be ready to do that. It should not be passed on, pushed off to somebody else. Of course, if he's working different things like that, um, if he's not available like that, then okay. But if you are available, that's something that you should be doing. Um, a lot of things happen during marriages, and you just never know. So, with that being said, whatever comes up, just like, if the husband got hurt, you would want your wife to step in right away for you, and taking care of you. So, you should be doing the same thing. And, not limiting yourself in marriage. When it comes to marriage, people limit themselves, and that's where a lot of spirits come in and see different things that how the people are operating in their marriage. They get into those places, and start wreaking havoc because people are feeling entitled as a wife, feeling entitled as a husband, where it's imbalanced, and those spirits, they begin to have wiggle room to start messing with you in your marriage. So with that being said, both people, the wife and the husband, you don't need to be limited in what you're willing to do for each other in your marriage. As long as it's lawful, as long as it's the Most High's word, that's exactly what you should be doing. When it is unlawful, though, you shouldn't be doing it. And you should be able to speak with your spouse. And husband, it's your job to teach your wife. So with that being said, you get to deliver her from whatever ignorance of the scriptures that she needed to be delivered from. And you'll know that by her conversation. You'll know that by the ideas and things that she brings up. That she, excuse me, the things that she brings up that will just come during conversation. You'll know when correction needs to happen and take place, and that's why you have to be listening. That's why duty of marriage is so important. That's why loving your wife is so important. And it will give you an insight on her where you'll be able to see different things, help her with a lot of things, and she'll appreciate you for it. Deliverance is a part of the duty of marriage that the husband must provide. They are in covenant. This is why sex being marriage, as I spoke about in a different video, this is why sex being marriage doesn't work, because the covenant with being married makes the woman his own, and he has to take care of her as opposed to a boyfriend who won't care about her issues or problems. So there's a huge difference when you watch this video. If you have a boyfriend, and or if you have a girlfriend, if you are not married yet, it's a big difference we're talking about here. We're not talking about the same thing. The level of respect, the level of covenant, the level of how you can talk to them, so on and so forth, it changes. You gotta when a woman has a boyfriend, there are certain things he's not willing to do. He's not trying to hear it. He just wants to hang out and everything be lighthearted, whatever. And then you go home and he gets to go off and do whatever he wants to do. A lot of people who have had physical issues, different challenges in life, maybe even spiritual stuff, they've had exes that broke up with them purely off of that. So with that being said, when it comes down to a husband, when it comes down to a wife situation, big difference. The husband and wife with that marriage covenant, they're invested. Or at least they should be. How people operate these days, they deviate away and they are selfish and they choose to change what marriage is and what it should be, and treat their spouse how they even wouldn't want their spouse treating them in marriage. And so with that said, big difference with the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife titles. No covenant required with the boyfriend, girlfriend thing. They can be here today and gone tomorrow. So with that said, we're talking about deliverance here, how the husband can deliver the wife, because you've made this covenant, you've made this commitment to be married to this woman. And so this is what I am speaking on, things that in your position as a husband only you can do, and that you are in a place of responsibility, accountability, where this is your job, this is what you need to be doing, taking care of your wife. And there's many other scriptures that we're going to go through to back that up. Whether you know about it or not, you're going to be hearing some things that you may not have heard, and if you heard them, then it's just a reminder to you. So with that said, spoke on the boyfriend thing. So like I said, if the woman's problems require more than the boyfriend wants to invest, then he can leave. He can be gone. But the husband actually has a true commitment that's not limited. She does, unless if she does things unlawful like adultery, then she can be put away, or a bill of divorcement, whatever that man chooses to do. According to the scriptures, she is supposed to be put away. And she is not supposed to marry anymore. And so with that said, one of the greatest reasons the husband can only deliver the wife is that she will have to go through her past, giving intimate details of things she won't trust just anyone with. In a real seriously taken marriage where both people are serious, the people in it want to know what they went through in their past. And I'm not speaking about dysfunctional marriages where they don't care at all. Now, this is a deliverance channel, and there may be some dysfunction in your marriage, but then there is a part where it could be spirits that are interfering with your marriage, and then there's another part where each one of you, because both of you could be needing deliverance, spirits can be operating in both of you, causing that interference at any given time. It could be both of y'all personalities, core personalities, um, contrary beliefs to the Most High that y'all are operating in inside of your marriage. That is a concept of God. So marriage is not man-made. It is a concept of the Most High. So people do have disagreements with the Most High on marriage, how it should go, who should be in it, so on and so forth, this, that, and another. So with that being said, the that's another portion of the deliverance. And then whatever else there is as well, as far as action wise, because there's the spirit side, there's what people believe and what's really going on with them. Then you have their actual actions that have to be detoxed, that they have to change, that they have to repent of, that they have to, um, as I said, be delivered from. So, with that being said, I'm talking about people who actually care about their marriage. Um, you have to go through that. You should want to know whether anything bad has happened in the past, so that when it comes down to the future and you're 10 years into a marriage and you go to the store and there's a person who did this or did that or so on and so forth to whichever one of you, and instead of just being shook, instead of feeling violated at that time, depending on whatever happened, you having your spouse right there. So in the case for the husband, your wife will be able to confide in you, be transparent with you, and tell you, hey, this person did this to me back, years ago when I was a child, or this or that and another. And then the husband will not be in a place where he's in the dark. So secrets and all these different things that have happened during a person's life, during a wife's life. She needs a safe haven. She needs a safe place. She needs that husband to be that she needs that husband to be that tabernacle um, for her, where she can talk to him, where she can be transparent, as I said. So, with that being said, Genesis chapter 2, verse 23 through 25. And Adam said, this is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. So when we look at this right here, we are seeing that they both were naked before one another and were not ashamed. Now, nakedness is not just bodily. Nakedness, as I said, being transparent, not having to hide behind masks as people do these days, hide behind multiple personalities, hide behind all of these different things. So, multiple personalities being spirits, people hide behind masks, meaning inside themselves they feel one way and they disagree and they really don't want to do this, but then they actually act on it and open themselves up for spirits, open themselves up to start doing things that they don't even believe in. And that's usually what a lot of time happens with boyfriends and girlfriends. A lot of spirits really get in through them and really wreak havoc in a person's life. The boyfriend and girlfriend thing, that's where a lot of, that's basically the single mother makers. That's where the single mothers are really coming out of those boyfriend-girlfriend situations. And that's why you don't see the Most High endorsing fornication, endorsing sleeping with a person, and then just staying cool with them and chilling and kicking it, and then you meet up with them from time to time. That's not why. That's exactly why he doesn't deal with the fornication thing. That's why he doesn't deal with the boyfriend girlfriend thing, and you don't hear that in there. It's either a person has a single status, they are betrothed, or they are married, or they are divorced, or they are widowed, and that's it. That's what you get. So, but as I said, um, you see the man leaving his father and his mother and cleaving to his wife, meaning that duty of marriage. You know, he's cleaving to her. She is mine. We are one. Things like that. Um, that's where they both have right to see one another naked. That's where the man that is his wife, and when she is naked before him, that is because she is his. Now, on that point, I was gonna make that later, but let me see if I can grab it for you now. Um, Grab this scripture for you. Speaking on the nakedness, it's Leviticus. Yeah, let me grab it for you guys real quick. So as I said, with this scripture right here in Genesis, it is speaking on the oneness of the married couple. Is speaking on them actually belonging to one another. Um, and there is power in that. There is deliverance in that for those who do still believe in marriage. And if you don't, you need help with that. I'm here to encourage you, let you know. A lot of people say that what good is a man these days? What good is a husband? They have this negative viewpoint on marriage. Well, I'm here to give some reasons for a woman. Um, what good is a husband? What good is a man? So Leviticus 18:8, the nakedness of thy father's wife thou shalt not cover, or shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. So the nakedness of thy father's wife, so if it's your mom, shalt thou not uncover. It is thy father's nakedness. So regardless of what, whether you're the next one, if you're a child now and you have a father and a mother, you shouldn't be seeing your mother's nakedness. Um, that's period. You shouldn't be seeing your mother's nakedness. Nobody else should be seeing your mother's nakedness except for your father. And the reason why that is because they are one flesh. The reason why that is because they are in covenant. And in my first or second video, I was speaking about Hollywood, and I was speaking about how there are so-called married couples, but yet you see them in their newest movie butt naked, but they're supposed to be married off screen, but on screen they butt naked in the scene with somebody else. That's completely unlawful. No one should be seeing another man's wife naked. And same thing with a man. Nobody should be seeing anybody naked. But as I said, this world operates completely different. They do their own thing. They make their own transgressions, and that's why the Most High told us not to learn the way of the heathen. Yet, we've learned the way of the heathen. That's why people do the things that they do today. If we had not learned the way of the heathen, those things wouldn't be happening. And if they did happen, then the people who were doing those things, the Most High would deal with, as He is dealing with people, believe it or not, in Hollywood with those things. So with that said, the nakedness of the man belongs to the nakedness of the wife belongs to the husband, and then the same thing, vice versa. So when we're talking about nakedness, who the person is, core personality, everything about them. Um, when we are talking about people, please understand that these days people are looking at people as body parts. People are looking at people as um, private parts, body parts, everything like that. They're just looking at the body and forget the person inside, forget the person. They have feelings, they have goals, they have dreams, you know, all of that. And, a lot of people are cold hearted towards people where they just sleep with them and then they want them to disappear in thin air. That's why people are transgressing and getting sex dolls and sex mannequins and doing a whole bunch of things that have nothing to do with the Most High's word. And a lot of the people doing them are claiming to be Christians, are claiming to be godly, are claiming to be all of these different things, but in their own closed quarters behind closed doors, they're using all of these different sex toys that are not natural, not from the Most High, and that is preventing them from going into marriage. So when it comes down to a lot of people, they are replacing their husband, they are replacing their wife with a sex toy, with whatever they're using. That is what is prolonging them from getting married, for one, and being able to go deeper into relationship with the Most High, actually having a marriage covenant and learning all these things, maturing as they're supposed to, following the blueprint of the Most High as they're supposed to. There are too many people out here who are deviating from the Most High's blueprints, deviating from the Most High's plans. He is telling people what they need to do if they want to have children, if they want to have this, if they want to have that. And the Most High has already given um, he is already giving his, what I want to say, his truth when it comes down to man being alone, people promoting being single as if it's great and so on and so forth. No, these people who are single, they are running around fornicating, they are running around pretending like they're living their best life, and they are having sex and relations with some type of doll, some type of toy, so on and so forth. And that right there alone is opening them up for spirits. It is opening them up for spirits. It is causing them to have a negative viewpoint against the opposite sex. Now they don't need the opposite sex anymore. Please understand, husbands, when it comes down to delivering your wife, if she was one of these before, where she was single and she just loved her toys and all this, that, and another, she was replacing men with those toys. So when it comes down to you and she has this negative viewpoint on you, lack of respect for you, whatever the case may be, understand that she's been using toys for so long that she all of a sudden thinks that a man is going to be accepting the behavior from a woman to be treated like he's a toy. And that is simply not going to happen. That's where a lot of disagreement happens. That's where a lot of issues take place. That's where a lot of spirits are in women's lives and in men's lives. And that is where that disrespect and that disconnect is just sitting there needing to be repaired because people have been using their hand. They've been by themselves, all alone, which the Most High said is not good, and He's seen people when they're alone. So with that being said, everybody can say that they've done it before. Some people felt bad in the beginning, and then they continued on and then didn't care. that's even a sign there. Before they felt guilty of it, then they didn't care. Now all of a sudden that ends up transitioning and turning into having hatred for the opposite sex, not caring about the opposite sex. If they do lay down with the opposite sex, then they're ready to kick them out of their house as soon as they're done because they already got what they wanted. The whole masturbation thing, the whole pleasing yourself thing, that is a selfish act. You're being self centered. So then when you actually have an individual with you, um, that's how they're going to look to treat that individual. That individual's body parts, that individual is a live sex doll, that individual is a live sex toy in their viewpoint. And that is completely accurate, that is completely wicked, and that is where people's mindsets are these days. And some people want to change it, some people don't. Some people don't even see it. So that's why I'm here speaking truth. For the people who can't see it, think about it. Reflect on yourself. How were you treating your exes? How were you treating your ex-husbands? How were you treating your ex-wives and ex-girlfriends? Really think about it. Were you really being extremely impersonal, treating them like they were this robot? Or were you actually treating them like a real person? So, as I said, marriage is real. Real people, real problems, real deliverance needed, and you being fully functional in this marriage is crucial for it to survive. Um, so, when we are talking about the husband only being able to deliver his wife, the things that she will be able to tell you that she won't want to tell your pastor if you still deal with the church. She won't want to tell the marriage counselor. She won't want to tell me if you guys were to hire me to do deliverance with you in person, over the phone, whatever the case may be. She'll want to tell you that stuff. That's why I say the husband only can deliver his wife. Let me tell you, when I put this video up, understand, I'm telling you the truth. So think about all of those other so-called deliverance ministries out there that have no authority over your wife, no covenant with your wife. They're not going to spend as much time with her as you are. They're not going to know all the intricate details that it takes for some of these spirits to leave up out of her and for her to change her mind and be serious. Understand that they're not telling you this stuff. They're not saying that, oh, the husband only can do it. We can only teach you, husband, how to deliver your wife. No, they're lathering hands up with oil and they're putting hands all on your wife and nothing's happening because that's not how it's done. And if anything, they're putting spirits on her and in her and whatever else is going on. And most likely it's a church where they got a whole bunch of idolatry going on and idol images and graven images of crosses and all that stuff. So like I'm telling you, you are the only one. You have the marriage covenant. You have the legal right to her. You are one flesh with her. Another man should not be touching your wife anyway. So, as I said, nothing wrong with marriage counseling. With people who the Most High is sending you to. But if the Most High didn't send you to that marriage counselor, I'm telling you, you need to just stick with people who the Most High gives you confirmation from. And as you're watching this video now, yes, YouTube does put me in the queue for whatever you were searching for, everything like that. But please understand, you're listening to this video for a reason. Please listen to the duration of it. Whether you have opposite views of me or don't agree with some of the things I'm saying, I'm coming from biblical things. I'm coming from what the Most High has led me to believe. So I'm just giving you truth. And I pray that the Most High will, if you have a disagreement with something I said, I pray that He reveal it to you Himself. I don't have no problem. I'm here telling you guys truth. So with that said, I want to expose that, or I was led to expose that, because that just came to my mind. So this is your wife. You are one with her. You have left your mother and father to cleave to her. And the Most High tells us to honor our mother and our father. And in this process, He is telling you that you can go leave them and cleave to your wife. That's how important it is. So we're not talking about anything light here. We're talking about real commitment. She needs to be taking care of you just as much as you're willing to take care of her. There shouldn't be limits on either one of you. So now, how serious marriage is to the Most High, and how the husband can deliver his wife from her own words or vows. Let's go ahead and get into it. This is where we're moving now, so we're going to start off in Genesis 3:16, and we're going to talk about how serious marriage is. Genesis 3:16, unto the woman he said, this is after the judgment of the men eaten from the tree of good and evil, the serpent speaking to the wife and disrespecting the husband, speaking to the wife without his permission, anything like that. And this is her judgment that the Most High handed down to her. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Right here in the scriptures. That's serious. Most High is serious on that one. He's seen what happened with Eve and the woman and that serpent. She already was referring to Adam as her husband. So when it comes down to another being, whatever, spirit, person, man, woman, that's trying to come in between your marriage and cause one of you to go into sin, disobey the Most High, that is going to affect both of you. That's why everyone got judged here. So with that being said, they are one at this point. When she deals with something and goes through something, he's going through it too. It's not just her only. You're married. She needs deliverance. So when it comes down to it, you're going to feel it one way or another. Whether you can see it or whatever, you can see it. You can try to stay away from it, try to avoid it, however you're trying to handle it. But you're going to have to confront it. It's your wife. She's there with you. That's what it is. And this right here brings up the submission portion. And in this modern time, people have caused submission to be a negative thing, a derogatory term, submission. A lot of entitlement comes out when that word and term is used. A lot of requirements come out. Oh, well, I'm going to submit when you give me something to submit to. No scripture saying that, but I understand what you're saying. The man does need to be a man of the Most High. He does need to be doing what the Most High said. But, he has his role, she has hers. So with that said, with the Old Testament, sorry y'all, with the Old Testament, both of them are required to do what they're supposed to do. New Testament, you got to sit there and watch them be wicked and do this, that, and another. That's where Christians waiting on other Christians to die, which is sad. But that's what that New Testament is doing to y'all. It is wrecking marriages. It is wrecking people. It is causing people to be opened up to spirits of hatred towards one another, because they're being told to sit there. The man's not providing, as I said in Exodus 21:10 and 11, the man is not providing that wife who's in that New Testament. He's not providing her with food, clothes, raiment, or duty of marriage. He don't want to talk to her. He don't want to hear nothing. He's not providing her clothes. He's not providing her food. He's not providing her a house. You know, she's paying for everything, and he's living off of her. But that 11th verse that I'm speaking of, if the people in that New Testament would understand that the Most High has already given you the answer that you needed, and that he did not change that covenant with the idol of the New Testament, you would understand that you don't have to sit there and stay with that man. You can leave free because of what the Most High already said. So that man chose not to provide you with food, clothes, duty, arraignment. It says that if he does not those three unto you, you can go free. And that's exactly what you should do. The New Testament keeps you there, tells you to sit there and try to win him by conversation, all the while he's not doing any of those three that the Most High mentioned. And you're now developing hatred towards that man. Now you're desiring for him to die or her to die, and because they go both ways, the man and a woman. So with that being said, the whole submission thing, it has been butchered by the New Testament, and that is why people have so much anger towards one another, ex-wives, ex-husbands, because they have sat there in a marriage 10 plus years, 5 of it good, the other 5, guy just stopped doing what he was supposed to do, and now she's bitter, all these different things like that. People don't become bitter by themselves. Something happened. And with you being a husband, and sticking with this video, with you being a husband, and you can only deliver your wife, you want to know whether she had areas of bitterness in her life, different things like that going on with her. You have to be asking her questions, and she should be ready to tell you, or willing to tell you, when it's time. Most High will give dreams, visions. He'll keep it on your mind, have you needing to talk about it, so on and so forth. But what the Most High has to say, what thus saith the Lord has to say about the wife submitting to her husband, her desires to be towards her husband. Her desire should be towards him to tell him everything, and she has to submit to him as he rules over her. So it's not your job, women out there, to assume to be offended at the Most High when he says, and he shall rule over thee. Marriage is the Most High's concept, and off that alone, some people are just not want to be married, but then you won't want to follow through on the rest of it and not sleep with anybody either. You just go out there and fornicate with the people that the Most High created as well. So, like I said, being a righteous man of the Most High, this is another way you can deliver your wife, by doing what you should be doing, not based on her standards, based on the Most High standards. Those are the highest standards you're going to get. So when you are honoring the Most High by his standards, they're going to be higher than your wife's standards. And if she has higher standards, they're most likely unreasonable if they're above what the Most High is telling you to do already. So the steps of a good man are ordered by the Most High. It didn't say your wife. So that's where wives have to submit to the husbands, have to submit to the Most High as well, just as Eve needed to in this situation. Yet she got judged, and this is why she got judged and humbled, because she was trying to bypass the Most High and her husband. So something happened in order for this to happen, and the Most High is the one who judged righteously on this matter. And submission is something that some single women struggle with transitioning into when coming from single status to married wife status. So if you're new, your marriage is new, you have to understand that this is something that may be going on. It's not an excuse. It's something that, fellas, you're going to have to pay attention to concerning your new wife who is transitioning from being single to married, and understanding this submission part. And, you know, this is a part of the process. This is a part of the deliverance. Her transitioning from being single to married, that is deliverance. Her mindset is changing. Nobody may have formed it in that type of way or worded it like that, but it is deliverance. It is, she's going to have to detox from her old single ways. A lot of people go through that, some harder than others. When it comes to even having kids, same thing for coming from being single to married. They struggle with it. They can't do the things that they want to do. They miss those things, so on and so forth. So, that's where you have to be there for her. And she has to be there for you for the different things that you are experiencing. One example of the husband ruling over his wife that is biblical now, Numbers chapter 30, 6 through 8, and then I want to speak on 12 and 13 as well. And if she had at all an husband, when she vowed or uttered aught out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallowed her on that day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect, and the Lord shall forgive her. Now, this is talking about vows. This is talking about the husband's power, the husband's authority. This is talking about the husband's position in the wife's life to be able to void out her vows that she makes, that she speaks, period. Because it's all before the Most High. So if she says something and the husband hears it and he doesn't say anything, he doesn't void it out, he doesn't allow it, then she will be bound to her word. She will have to pay that vow as she said it. The Most High listens to our conversations. He hears what we are saying. He hears the different vows. He hears what we talk about. So when it comes down to her speaking in front of her husband and she's vowing something, she has to do that. So disallow, meaning forbid, cancel, deny, dismiss, veto. So when we're talking about this wife speaking something, saying something, and it's a vow, he can void it out. So here it is in verse 12. But if her husband hath utterly made them void on the day he heard them, speaking about her vow, her words, then whatsoever proceeded out of her lips concerning her vows, or concerning the bond of her soul, shall not stand. Her husband hath made them void, and the Lord shall forgive her. Verse 13, every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, fasting, afflicting the soul, fasting. Her husband may establish it, or her husband may void it out, make it void. So, husbands, we have a role when it comes down to our wives. When we hear something, we be like, I void that out. Because what you just said, you're not going to be able to do, or this, another. And I'm not talking about you not believing in your wife. I'm not talking about you counting her out. I'm not talking about you doubting her. What I'm talking about is some things that you hear said. And it's a lot of time those things that are just said loosely, those words the Most High hears and acts on those. The scripture says we are snared by the words of our mouth. And so, like I said, husbands, we have a role to help our wives, to be there for our wives, to help deliver them, even in their vows, even in their words. You do not want her putting something in motion that is not going to work out for the entire household. So you have to void out those words. And that is what we're speaking on now. Talking about another way that the husband can only deliver his wife. Now we're going to speak on the husband operating in polygyny delivers his wife of reproach. So here we go again. Isaiah 4:1. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Reproach meaning disgrace, discredit, often about personal matters, obligations, and the like, given with an attitude of fault finding and some intention of shaming. So when it comes down to women these days, or people in society these days, they do a lot of shaming, fault finding, all these different things like that. Sometimes it comes from people's parents, families, other women, other men, whatever the case may be. In this case, in Isaiah 4:1, it's considered a reproach to not be married. And a lot of women don't want to be married, different things like that. But whether that ends up being a spirit that comes against them, I haven't dealt with that with anyone that I've delivered. So with that being said, whether it is a spirit, possibly. And so that may be in people who don't want to be married and they're fighting being married super hard. And the Most High is telling them who their husband is or who their wife is, and they don't want to go forth and do it. But the point that I'm making is that polygyny, having multiple wives, there is a purpose for it. There is a reason for it. People have debates about it, argue about it. I'm just going to simply leave it at that. That's another way where you can deliver your wife. You can deliver who the Most High is sending to your household as a husband. And women need that reproach taken away. They don't want to be disgraced, discredited. A lot of them know they should be married. A lot of them got pregnant by boyfriends and so on and so forth. And they have a single parent home now. And they have that reproach of getting married because they gotten hurt by this guy who they had a child with, and he don't even want to take care of the child, whatever the case may be. or she just doesn't want to marry him, or whatever it is. But um, it is a thing that women go through. I've heard many different people talk about it. When you hit 35 and you don't have children and you're not married, people see like something's wrong with you or there's some fault with you, whatever the case may be. That's other people saying that. I don't say that, but that's other people. So that's where that reproach would come in at, and that's how the husband can deliver that woman from it. And as I said earlier in Genesis 2:18, and the Most High God said, "It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him." So when it comes down to us men, we are um, delivering ourselves and we're delivering our wives. It's not good for us to be alone. It's not good for us to um, not have a wife. It's not good for us to um, be single and just looking at everyone else and all these different women. That's how a lot of guys end up committing adultery with other men's wives, because they're sitting around, they're single, they see a woman come by, she, looks good, and he doesn't care who she belongs to. He just wants to sleep with her, and he's committing adultery with this woman. And, he should be, you know, looking for his wife to actually marry. And really, these guys are pulling other men's wives into idolatry or adultery, and the spirits are that are operating in them, they're transferring them into this man's wife, which is a complete violation, unlawful, abomination, all of that. And so this is one of the places where husbands, we have to deliver our wives. We have to be speaking with our wives, doing what we're supposed to, giving them every reason to obey, submit, all of that. Big responsibility, yes. Is it hard? Yes. Can we do it? Yeah. You put your mind to it, you can. Trust the Most High, yes, you can. Don't let other people tell you what you can do and what you can't do. A lot of things that people told me what I couldn't do, I'm doing now. And I'm doing very good at it. So with that said, don't let people tell you what you can do and what you can't do. You know what you are capable of. Other people are just guessing. So, as I said, a small list that I came up with based on this video. Deliverance things a husband delivers his wife or wives from: having to be alone, number one, taking care of herself completely. Um, it's not good for man to be alone. Women don't want to be alone. They want company. They want a husband. They want a man. They want testosterone. They want, protection, all of those things. So having to be alone, taking care of herself completely without leadership, I can't leave that out. The man is the leader. Um, that's why the Most High puts so much emphasis on men in the Bible. People who are offended that the Most High puts so much emphasis on men in the Bible, that is because they have an issue with men. That is because they have an issue with the Most High. Nothing's wrong with that. The Most High created us. He wants the man to lead. That's what he created the man to do. If somebody doesn't want the man to lead, then you want a woman to lead. That's contrary to what the Most High is talking about. You basically might as well try to make your own Bible and then push that on people. But you're speaking contrary to the Most High's word. You didn't create anybody. You didn't, other than birth, but you didn't create anybody like the Most High created them. You didn't create marriage. You didn't create all these different things out here. So you can't sit there and try to change things up as if you're higher than the Most High and you'll be honored higher than the Most High. That's just your opinion. And the Most High chose who he chose, just like he chose David to be king. That's who he chose out of all of his brothers. It didn't matter what Jesse thought about it. The Most High chose David out of all of his brothers. So with that being said, that's just an example I'm giving you of how wrong it is to be mad at who the Most High chose to lead, to guide, to be the leadership. And So yes, having to be alone, taking care of herself completely, that is something that the husband does. And providing that leadership, duty of marriage, leadership right there. It's right there inside the duty of marriage. There's no limitation on what duty of marriage is. Number two, she is delivered from the single status, dating pool, and reproach. We spoke about that. Number three, delivered from vows she was speaking over herself that may be unreasonable, where her husband has to step in to protect her. So, this is one of those things where, as we talked about it, it's another thing that you can deliver your wife from. I could make a video just about spirits and all of the different circumstances, all of the different things that us as husbands can, or future husbands, um, what we can do to deliver our wives. The deliverance process, that's a process in itself. This right here is more so speaking about the scriptures, more so speaking about practical things that you can do, things that we're responsible for doing in the scriptures. And for the women who are watching this video, this is letting you know what it is that you should have expectation wise for the husband. And it's not for you to hold this man, whoever he may be, to this video or these notes or anything like that. What it is for you to do is ask the Most High for confirmation on who your husband is, and then let him see the video. Let the Most High work on him. Hey, Most High will work that out. You just need to make sure you're making the right decision and choice on who it is that you're supposed to marry and submit to, and so on and so forth. And that would really save a lot of conversation and arguing and debating about, like I said earlier, people saying that if you give me something to submit to, then I'll submit to you. If you were asking the Most High for confirmation and you actually had a relationship with the Most High, you would get the confirmation, and you wouldn't have to be concerned about having something to submit to, because the Most High would already put you with the right person who would give you every reason to submit to them. Number four, she is delivered from sexual temptations and can know her husband without struggling with masturbation. Most definitely. People are struggling out here. Women are struggling out here, men as well, with masturbation. But you want to fight to be single. Stop. Stop it. You're speaking against the Most High. What he is saying for a man to do. He already said it's not good for man to be alone. Yet you want to keep on promoting that this single life, this alone life, is great and good. And it's the complete opposite of what the Most High is saying. He's saying it's not good. Why are you saying it is good? Why are you promoting that? And then you turn around and then say you with the Most High and that you are all for him. You're not. You saying the exact opposite of what he's saying. And then you're smiling and then acting like it's all good, and it's not. You're promoting fornication. You're promoting putting people in a position where they're going away from their goals and they're not creating a family. They're going to put themselves in a position to have a single parent home. And the man and the woman are going to be split up. No marriage covenant even needed to be divorced from or broken, because they never were going to have one. They were both single. They created a child, and that's it. That's the only possibility that there's going to be, other than fornication. They're not going to get married. They're going to continue on sleeping together. And what? They're not going to reproduce. They're not going to multiply and be fruitful. So then that's a whole nother thing, because they're putting condoms on. So, like I said, you against the Most High. The sex toys and all of the sex dolls and all that stuff. Dude, you're not getting a sex doll pregnant. Woman, you not getting pregnant by being with a sex doll. And that's what sex is for. Knowing one another is for reproduction. Okay, granted it doesn't happen every time, but at least you're doing it with a natural person. So, like I said, at least you get a real person with the marriage, covenant, and it should be somebody that you like. I mean, people marrying people that they don't like, but they like their money. I mean, how can you really complain about the marriage going sour or soft or horrible when you didn't even marry them for the right reasons? Number 5, if a spirit manifests in her, then he can command it to be removed by his covenant authority, as well as her needing to confront those spirits properly. So with that being said, these spirits are there in her for a reason. There's sin that took place. That's why those spirits are there. So with that being said, she has things that she has to do in order to be delivered when it gets to the spiritual level. But husband, you have to understand, you are in a position where this is your wife, your covenant partner, and you are the one who she belongs to. You are one flesh with her. If those spirits are not in you, then that is where you have to take care of your body, your flesh, and ask the Most High to remove it. That's how it's removed. And by her exposing those spirits and so on and so forth, as I've said with this deliverance process, that's how it happens. Understand, husband. When you are at home and she keep bothering you and spirits keep on manifesting and speaking against you and trying to take your sleep and creating all these problems and keep on breaking your stuff in your house, I mean, you're going to get tired of that. You're going to be like, something got to change. She has to be held accountable. Well, doing this deliverance, it'll be where you don't got to throw the baby out with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? You can keep your wife and throw those spirits out. Get them out of there. So, as I said, that's today's video. Speaking to y'all on, some points. Sharing with you guys what the Most High was speaking to me about. Especially as I put it together. So, with that said, this is the video. Subscribe, hit the like button, especially if you made it to the end of the video. I try to give you guys as much information as I can. Some people listen to this while they're at work, other people whenever. I talk for an hour. I don't try to censor it and try to down people and say, hey, people have a short attention span. I need to make 10-minute videos so that these people can just get their attention, so I can keep their attention. Some people have stronger attention spans, and that's who these videos are for. The people who have the shorter ones, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? You fast forward through this video, do what you got to do. At some point or another, you can expand your attention span, and you'll enjoy these videos. You'll watch the whole length. You'll enjoy the hour long. You'll want to hear all the points, everything like that. That's cool too. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you are in your journey, wherever you are, I do know that when somebody going through something, they will watch the whole video and they want to hear what has to be said because they need a new perspective. They need it. And Most High, that's what he does. He creates needs in people's lives. At one point, you didn't need what you need now, and that's why you just lived life how you did. You didn't have that need. Now you have that need. So with that said, I don't blame you. Watch this video. Watch all the rest of the videos. Most High is exposing things, revealing things, showing things. And your marriage husband, guys, brothers, You may have seen some stuff going on and it went on for a period of time, and then the Most High opened your eyes to see what's been going on, and you like, wow, didn't know that. Now you searching for deliverance. Now you seeing this video, and I'm sharing with you because I once was there. So I'm sitting here letting you know um, that I once was there, and I didn't have people to look to. I looked to books um, and the Most High. So with that said, Most High taught me these things, pointed things out in the scriptures for me to see. And just as time went on with my journey, He has me in a place where He has me now. So doing quite a few deliverances over a matter of 5 years. Not everybody has been delivered because some people chose not to be delivered. Some people knew that the spirits was there and they wanted to continue on, and they didn't want to remove them. They didn't want to go through the process. They didn't want to go through, um, you know, the areas in their life where those spirits were at. They didn't want to go through it. So they said in themselves, I'm guessing, that it's worth it keeping those spirits so that they don't have to go through the deliverance and get rid of them. That's their own preference. So that's what that is. So with that said, contact me at dwyoldeliverance@yahoo.com. That's one word altogether. dwyoldeliverance@yahoo.com. Cash at me. Donations to money sign MALICHICHP4. You can also send donations to Venmo donations @ MALACHICH4. All of this will be in the description box down below. Support, subscribe, donate, like, share. This is Brother James, and this is Deliverance with Yah Only. See you in the next video. Shalom.